My family threw me away like garbage for not breeding at 20. Now they're begging me to save the mother who said I was no longer her daughter. In our family, women married before 18. It was tradition, sacred, and unbreakable, passed down through 6 generations. The rules were simple. Finish high school, get engaged by 17, married by 18, babies by 20. My bedroom walls told the family story, engagement photos of my cousins at 16 and 17, wedding portraits from their 18th birthdays. Every Sunday dinner was a marriage planning session. The Morrison girl just got engaged, and she's only 16, my mother would beam. The pastor says early marriage keeps girls pure. I was 20 years old, practically an ancient spinster by our standards. They'd already arranged everything with David from our religious community. We were supposed to be engaged by now. You're destroying our legacy, my mother would sob. 6 generations of godly women, and you're going to break it. But I had other dreams. I'd been secretly applying to nursing school, hiding acceptance letters under my mattress. The full scholarship letter arrived on a Tuesday. I hid it for 3 days before my father found it while searching my room. The confrontation was explosive. Nursing school? My father roared. You want to abandon your family for what, money? That's when he threw the letter into the fireplace. I watched my future curl into ash as he spoke. If you choose strangers over your family, you're no longer our daughter. That night, my sister Rebecca found me packing. She pressed her jewelry box into my hands. $800 saved since she was 12. I believe in you, she whispered. I left before dawn. College was brutal but brief in description. I worked nights, attended classes during the day, lived on pasta and determination. My apartment was a closet with a bed, but it was mine. Junior year, I started a support group for students from strict religious families. 50 members joined within months. A psychology professor noticed our work and asked me to co-author a research paper about family trauma and academic success. 2 months before graduation, the city's biggest hospital offered me a position in their trauma unit. The salary was more than my dad made in construction. 6 months later, I became charge nurse. 5 years after that, I was the youngest nursing director in hospital history. I'd also started a nonprofit helping young people escape restrictive families. We'd helped over 300 people transition to independence. I was making 6 figures, living downtown, driving a car I'd bought with cash. But I never forgot what Rebecca did for me. Every month, I secretly sent her money for college. She became a teacher, breaking our family tradition herself. When she graduated, I hired her to run my nonprofit's administrative side. We kept our relationship completely hidden. Then last week, Rebecca called me in tears. Mom collapsed at church, she choked out. She's in the hospital. They think it's her heart, but the medical bills are already mounting. Dad's insurance barely covers anything, and they're talking about experimental treatments that could cost hundreds of thousands. She paused, her voice breaking. They asked me if my nonprofit boss might know any doctors who could help. They're desperate, Miriam. I drove to the hospital that same evening, my nursing director credentials getting me straight to the cardiac unit. Mom looked so small in the hospital bed, connected to machines I knew intimately from my work. When she saw me, her eyes widened. Miriam? Dad appeared beside her bed, looking exhausted and older. His work clothes were wrinkled from sleeping in the chair. Nobody spoke for an eternity. My beautiful daughter, Mom finally whispered, reaching toward my face with a shaking hand. Look at you in your medical scrubs. We heard you became important at the hospital. The whole community talks about how proud we must be. Dad nodded eagerly, straightening in his chair. We always knew you were special, sweetheart. We just wanted what was best for you. I pulled out my phone, reviewing her chart that I'd already accessed through the hospital system. The experimental treatment you're hoping for costs $400,000. Insurance will cover maybe 30%. Mom started crying. Dad began explaining about payment plans and medical loans and how they just needed someone to help navigate the system. I held up my hand. I spoke with the lead cardiologist an hour ago. Their faces lit up with desperate hope, the same faces that had called me a family disgrace 10 years ago. Dr. Bellamy is the best in the region. I've worked with him for years, I continued, watching their expressions carefully. But I told him to remove you from the experimental treatment list. You're not a candidate anymore. Dad's face crumpled. Mom made a sound like a wounded animal. But we're your family, Mom whispered. You could save me. No, I said, turning toward the door. You made it very clear 10 years ago that I didn't belong in this family. I paused at the door. Oh, and Rebecca doesn't work for some random nonprofit director. She's my business partner, and she's the one who'll be handling your standard treatment plan if you qualify for our foundation's charity program. I walked away listening to them call my name, finally free from a tradition that was never mine to carry.